They're coming to get you, Barbara.
RevivalHouse.net here with a very, very special podcast. You know, lately we haven't been doing too many of the regular type podcasts. Zach and I have been doing a lot of commentaries. We do those weekly, which, by the way, check them out. I've been doing a lot of the Mac and Zach Save the World podcast, guesting on those, doing commentaries. Those are a lot of fun, especially when those guys get drunk. They're a lot of fun. But this time, we got Riverman back in the house for classic style. RevivalHouse.net/BTM podcast. Going way back 7 years. And the occasion is somber but appropriate. We're here to talk about and hopefully honor. I mean, I don't know how we're going to honor. I mean, what can we offer? We're here to tell our stories about George Romero and his films. And sort of our just history with it, where we came from. I think everybody's probably got that story, like, where were you when you first heard or watched Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead, or et cetera, et cetera. And we certainly have those as well. But anyway, it's good to have you back, Riverman. I wish you were here more often, but, you're a busy guy.
Yeah, busy. Got the kid now and got work and all that stuff. So kind of let the fans go behind the scenes as take two. We've been dealing with the Super NES Classic Edition pre-orders. So.
Yeah, not to make light of the topic that we're here to talk about, but we already started recording this. Like he said, we put a couple minutes into it, and all of a sudden Todd's like, the Super Nintendo, the SNES Mini is live, pre-orders at Walmart. Go, 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 go. He got like a link or something on Facebook, and so we had to put everything on hold and get ourselves them. But that aside, Let's keep it serious. Yes. And talking about the great George A. Romero, I'll start off by saying that, like, obviously, River, you're the aficionado of him, right? Mm-hmm. You knew him long before I did, but it's special to me because I associate our friendship with George Romero. Yeah. Because, when I met you way back in the day, we've been friends almost fucking, I don't know, long ass time, fucking 15 years. Mm-hmm. I don't know. But, when I met you, that's the first thing you talked about was Dawn of the Dead. It's the first thing you talked about. I remember the first time I went over to your house, you had just gotten at the time, brand new Dawn of the Dead DVD. It was fucking expensive. Your DVD, you were like the only kid in school that had a DVD player, for God's sakes.
You want to know why? I had a paper route, and you collected points through it's like a Best Buy points system or whatever, where you can cash them in from your paper route and like get something. So I saved up. I think my DVD player I got was like $350. I had in points, saved up for my paper route. So I spent it all on a fucking DVD player. $350. Isn't that nuts?
Yeah, that's crazy. But then I did get a DVD player eventually. And then that's the first thing you let me borrow Dawn of the Dead. You let me borrow your copy of it. And do you still have that copy, by the way?
I believe so. Yeah.
Because what was the cover of that?
Was that the anniversary cover with like the kind of the rainbow
Yeah, it was really bright. I remember it was really vibrant, and I remember the menu on it was kind of like that as well.
That's where they have that Monroeville Mall commercial in it, which is cool.
And you still have it?
Yeah, I have that. I have all my Dawn of the Dead shit.
You oughta, which that's another reason why he's an Uber fan. I mean, you have the Dawn of the Dead European, the box set or whatever too, with all the different cuts.
Yeah, I try to collect them all. Actually, I got into Romero. Kind of stepping back. I had a Big Brothers Big Sisters because my dad was kind of not there, but I had a Big Brother Big Sister, and he was a huge like Romero freak. And when I was like 6 years old, he started getting me into Romero because he knew I liked horror movies. So he got me into Day. His favorite was Day. So we had to watch Day all the time because he was studying to be a brain surgeon. So I was a huge, and Dr. Frankenstein and stuff like that. So he loved the grossness of Day, and he liked Dawn, but he wasn't a huge fan of Dawn. I saw Dawn, and I fell in love with Dawn. That was the best one, I thought, and to this day, it's probably my favorite film of all time.
Well, no, and I'm obsessed with it too. I think it's amazing. I think it's one of the top 10 best films, and not just horror. I think it's top 10, maybe one of the best movies of all time.
Yep, absolutely.
For a bunch of different reasons, not just because of how groundbreaking it was, but just everything about it, like how it was made, the guerrilla style of filmmaking, how resourceful George Romero was. Like, I don't know on how many different cuts the featurette's on there. I have the one I have it on DVD, and I have a Blu-ray copy, the one that's hard to find now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's out of print. Yeah. That goes
the out of print
50 now. Yeah.
That there's a really cool featurette on that where it's just a behind the scenes making of, and it's fascinating. I mean, I love the movie before I saw that, but when you see how like the sausage was made, it's incredible. Like I said, how resourceful he was and everything he did to get that movie made on a budget. Everything from getting the National Guard in, to loan them men, loan them all the stuff they played themselves. The shopping mall, the fact that they got permission to film there after hours on the basis that you guys get your shit out and clean up because we're still going to open up at 9 a.m. or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, how cool is that? Like, that's the devotion they had, was to, tear down, re-put back up every single night. Now, I don't know how long the shoot was for. I can't remember, but it's incredible, man. Like, that kind of filmmaking has to be so exciting.
And speaking of devotion, the devotion to Pittsburgh, the area, and how he, tried to shoot all his movies there. I mean, all that he could. And, Pittsburgh just became kind of a character in itself. Like, every time you saw a Romero movie, you're like, I hope it was shot there, because it just, I don't know, just the look of it and everything was so fucking cool.
And have you ever been to Mecca, the Pittsburgh?
No,
There was a period when I was like a freshman in high school, so this is like prime you and me and talking about this stuff. My dad was his job. He was going to Pittsburgh to open a restaurant because he was like a chef and he ran restaurants and stuff. And there was a point where he was in Pittsburgh working there for months. And, he would come back home on the weekends. He would just make the drive or whatever. And I never got to go with him. He would always take like some of my other siblings, go back because he'd be bored, they're alone or whatever. But it would have been cool to see Pittsburgh. And I don't know, is the mall still standing?
Yeah, still
I think
there.
It's abandoned though, isn't it?
No, it's not abandoned. It's still going strong.
It's active?
Yeah, they are having like conventions and stuff. I think they still have tours there. It's still active. I'd like to go and check it out.
Oh, we should go Black Friday shopping at the Dawn of the Day Mall.
That'd be fun.
Dawn of the Dead.
Just to check it out, take pictures. I think people still do that, and I saw a bunch of Facebook posts were in Pittsburgh and around there, Monroeville, where they're saying, like, thank you, George Romero. They put, like, date of his death and stuff and when he was born. Really cool, like, memorial stuff for Romero, and just seemed like a stand-up dude. Like, very humble guy, which I liked.
Do you think the mall still has the Brown Derby?
Who knows?
I love watching it from the 70s, and they got the liquor store in there. They got of course the jewelry store, but they got a bank in there. They got bank tellers. All these things that you don't have no fucking Brown Derby liquor stores and malls anymore.
Gun store, dude. That's awesome, man. They have so many cool different stores, and of course Penny's was great back then too.
But it really worked for the movie, man, to do it in that era, where you could logically have a gun store, a liquor store, all these things that they used.
A skating rink, right? Yeah.
Skating rink. Just all this stuff. The only thing they didn't have was a cinema, man.
I know, and that's what's so cool about it is, like, these weren't like, sure they had a few sets like when they were up top there, but the mall itself wasn't a set. It was an actual fucking mall. So it was really cool how, each store has their own, little vibe to it, and it's really nice.
And we're not trying to necessarily focus on Dawn of the Dead the whole time, but it's just his best movie.
Yeah.
And it's not like he doesn't have any other good movies. They're not all good movies. I'm not going to, beat around the bush just because he's passed away, but no filmmaker's flawless. No filmmaker has never had a blip. But the thing is what he should be proud of is, it's not like we're talking about a filmmaker that had good movies and bad movies. We're talking about a guy that had a masterpiece. And Dawn of the Dead's a masterpiece.
Yep.
And it's more than a good movie. So for me to say, we're singling out that movie, that's not a bad thing. That's not a derogatory thing, because every director on Earth would kill to have that one movie that's like a masterpiece.
It's a Citizen Kane, and it's probably better than that movie.
That's it. It is. It's that movie. Like who cares? He could have never directed anything else, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So even the best directors in the world, most of them are going to have a slew of good movies, but seldom are they going to have like that masterpiece that sort of transcends even like the good quality. So it's just a great movie, and it was groundbreaking. I love, how controversial it was when it came out, and how because the violence and everything else, and it's so over the top. I mean, I love watching the featurette, and you see, like I said, once again, how the sausage was made. I love that effect when they're raiding the Puerto Rican apartments.
Oh, yeah.
And he kicks in the door and just fucking takes a shotgun to the guy's head. And I guess it was like a balloon filled with like chewed up hot dogs and ketchup and mustard and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's so fast that it's insane that the frame it cuts in and out so fast. But I love pausing it at that frame every time I watch it. Because then it looks ridiculous, but it looks so awesome at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's a product of, like, obviously everybody's aware of the social commentary, the commercialism and all that stuff that goes on and the consumerism. But it's just a product of the time too. I love the time capsule of it, right?
Yeah, and the acting was great too. I loved all the characters. I mean, you felt sad, when Roger got killed, you weren't crying, but you were just upset when he got bit and stuff like that. You're like, oh, that sucks. So, you really got to love the characters. I did, at least. So,
yeah, I mean, it's just one of the it's rare. It's a real unicorn in that sense. That I mean, that's what makes it so perfect, because not only is the story simple but awesome, not only is the soundtrack the best horror movie soundtrack of all time.
Oh yeah,
hands down. I mean, that Goblin soundtrack is incredible. That's actually, it might be, it's a character itself, right?
Absolutely.
It's a character. And then, but it's also got the characters. That's maybe the most important part of any movie. Every single character is memorable. Everybody stands out. Everybody's got something to say. Everybody's got their own thing going. And, personally for me, River might disagree, but that's something I don't think Day of the Dead did as well, right?
No, because you don't really give a fuck about the characters. Day of the Dead's it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's so over the top, it's fun, but it's not, it's not as heartfelt as Dawn, I don't think.
No, it's not. It's obviously people put that one at such a high standard because of the effects, the gore and whatnot. And yeah, it's like it went to the next level, a little bit more realistic, a little bit more grotesque. Maybe not realistic. I mean, choke on him. That's not exactly realistic, but he's still fucking talking. But it's more graphic for sure. But I don't know, man. I like the campy, ultra paint red blood that's unrealistic of Dawn of the Dead. I love the blue skin,
Yeah, I do too.
All that stuff. I mean, I get it. The zombies, the prosthetics became advanced. Fuck, they were actually using prosthetics. Most of the zombies were just painted. But there's just something. What Day of the Dead lacks for me is, I think it's a downgrade, obviously, from the characters. It's a downgrade on story, in my opinion. But the thing is they can't match the charm of Dawn of the Dead.
No, not at all.
It oozes charm. There's just. Can you tell me the soundtrack is anywhere as good in Day of the Dead?
I enjoy it, but no, it's not. It's not the greatest.
There's just something. It was lightning in a bottle.
Yeah,
and he proved that. Lightning doesn't always strike twice. And George Romero couldn't capture that again. Nobody could capture that again, right? I mean, Night of the Living Dead is obviously huge for what it did. As groundbreaking as it was, but it's almost like. Actually, you know what? Maybe Dawn of the Dead is lightning in the bottle twice for him, because Dawn of the Dead did what it did.
Well, for some people, it's Night, but Night really didn't do it for me. I like Night. I actually like the remake better. People say I'm fucking crazy, but like I like Night, but it's not as groundbreaking to me because I wasn't around back in the late '60s. So.
If we're comparing them pound to pound as far as quality of movie, yeah, Dawn of the Dead is the superior movie. But at least I do think he struck lightning twice as far as cultural impact.
Sure.
Right? And he had that with the first two. And Dawn of the Dead is just like I said, if he struck lightning with cultural impact and Night of the Living Dead doing something that was... Because it was just as shocking for what it was.
Yeah.
There's zombie tits in that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the kind of the tame. I mean, it seems tame now, but the gore and the things they had in that, and but if that was lightning in a bottle, if that was lightning striking, then fucking Dawn of the Dead was a thunderstorm, and he peaked there because, like I said, he couldn't quite hit the peak again with Day of the Dead. I know a lot of people love it. When I think of Day of the Dead, to stay on that topic for a second, I think about your double VHS copy.
Oh, that's Dawn.
Is that Dawn?
Yeah, that's Dawn. That's the I think director's cut, and that came with.
What's the one? Okay, so yeah, you're right. Now I know it's Dawn. I remember the cover vividly now. Was it Day of the Dead though that you brought to school and lent to somebody in high school?
Yes.
And they brought it back with a different. They fucked up your cover. They altered it. They cut it up and glued it together and like drew crayon and marker, and they made you like an old customized cover.
Was it a DVD or was it a VHS?
It was a VHS because he fucked up the box.
Okay, it was probably the original media VHS copy of Day of the Dead. And
I remember the look on your face, man. And you didn't
so
say
pissed,
anything. Because you're probably just in shock.
Yeah.
Because he gives you a movie with his own custom-made cover that he fucked up or whatever.
The slipcase, he made it himself out of like fucking construction paper or something. I don't know.
And I don't remember what he said. Like, oh, I made it better. I don't remember what he said. But it was just, he was very nonchalant about it.
Josh?
Yeah, I remember his first name was Josh. I don't remember his last name. I don't know if we want to give out his last name.
No.
But the craziest thing, who does that? You know, it's like you borrow somebody's movie and you return it with a homemade cover, mutilating your original copy. You know, and like, oh, you know, I made it better for you.
Well, I kept asking for it back, and then he was like, yeah, I'll bring it tomorrow. He did that shit, and finally.
So that means he must have spilled coffee or something on it.
Dog chewed it up. Who knows?
He fucked up the box somehow. I mean, he did something. Yeah. And it's so funny, man, because that's just such a sitcom thing.
Yes.
It just seemed like a My Brother and Me episode, dude.
Ridiculous.
I gotta get the movie back to him. But yeah, it's funny. Do you still have that copy?
No, I don't know what the fuck it is.
Did you ever rebuy the original the copy again?
No, I need to get it. I could still get it, but it's gonna cost like $10-15 if I want that one.
It's not too bad though.
So yeah.
But that's about the extent. Dr. Tongue. It's got classic zombies. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Dr. Tongue, Bub, and things like that. Very iconic looking. And believe me, like I said, it did. It to me, it was the groundbreaking. It was groundbreaking for like grotesque zombies. You know, kind of the stuff that's been done to death with The Walking Dead now, right?
I think it was the peak of special effects because I think right around the time it was The Thing and it was Day of the Dead were like the two like special effects like. Masterpieces that came out. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I know that's a separate podcast altogether, but I don't think it can compare to The Thing. I think The Thing wins. Oh, absolutely. No, I know. You know what I'm saying. Special effects wise, it's hand in hand.
Yeah, I don't know. And I even though I have a copy of Day of the Dead on Blu-ray as well, that first pressing they had. I don't know. Is that just as hard to find as Dawn too?
No, because Scream Factory came out with
I know copy. That, but I mean, like I'm talking about the pressing they released with Dawn.
I don't know. I'll have to look.
But yeah, because like I said, I'm extremely. I don't know what's extra in the Scream Factory version of Day of the Dead, but I'm extremely skeptical about ordering from them anymore. This is a little side rant.
Yeah,
I ordered a big order from Scream Factory. Over $200, like $200, and I treated myself. And
well, it was during the sale, the giant sale?
Yeah, they were having a sale, an anniversary sale, like 5th anniversary of Scream Factory at a Shout Factory. And my order was I think it was just under $200. And, they only shipped initially one part of my order, which was the Amityville Horror Collection. I've been meaning to get that. And I, at $35 or whatever it was on sale for, I'm like, finally, I can deal with getting that price. I can deal with that price point. And I ordered a whole bunch of other things. All they did was sell me that. And I'm looking at it right now. It came damaged, right? I get it. Shit happens. They package their stuff really well, so this was clearly damaged in the factory. The box that carries the 3 movies is ripped and torn, and even the bindings of the actual Blu-ray cases themselves are maybe regular people wouldn't be bothered by them, but they have a big gash going through all 3 of them, like the plastic cut.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's kind of ugly. So I really want to return that. And I think I think they were sending me like an RMA or whatever. And then, but the rest of my order never came, and they kept saying, "Oh, it'll come next week." Finally, shipped out 5.5 weeks later.
Jesus.
Fuck. And then I get it, man. Their website states that you're not guaranteed slipcases after the first 3 months of release. None of them had slipcases except for 3 of them, and it was a ton of movies. And it's really upsetting. Like, I don't even want to look at them. You know?
I know, that would bug me too. I understand where you're coming
from.
Man.
So now I have a dilemma of I don't necessarily want to return them yet. I kind of want to. I thought I could go to Shout Factory directly and get more of a guarantee that I was going to get one over anywhere else. But now I'm tempted to order them from Amazon and see if I get lucky.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
And then I could always return them, right, if they don't.
Yeah.
Like, it's a nice experiment. And but you know, it just drives me crazy because I feel like I have work to do. I have to get these fucking slips, and they always got to be making more work for me. The movies that I did get with slip covers, which I'm grateful for, is The Thing. Which The Thing was shrink wrapped. It's like, why don't they shrink wrap all their fucking movies? Yeah. So they were, but it was shrink wrapped, and Lord of Illusions was shrink wrapped with a slip.
Huh.
Which is cool.
Oh, you got Lord of Illusions? That's awesome, man.
Yeah, with a slipcase. And then Psycho 2 had the slipcase, thank God. So I appreciate that. But man, Sleepaway Camp, fucking The Fog, Escape from New York, They Live. These fucking movies don't have slipcases, and it drives me fucking batty.
Yeah.
So it's like you go to, I know this is a huge detour, but I'm wrapping it up, I swear, folks. It's just like, you go to Scream Factory directly, you pay more, only to wait 5.5 weeks, and then you don't even get like all your slip cut. I don't know. It just makes no sense. They want to. Why are we not supposed to go to Amazon? I get it. They're ruling the world, and you want to, like, I don't know, give the smaller guys a chance. And
fuck that. Amazon or Walmart are the 2 I only go to now.
It's unfortunate. I know I can go to Amazon and just buy the Scream Factory titles there, and I know they're getting their cut, but they have to get something out by going straight to them, right?
Yeah. They're
cutting out a middleman. They're keeping more of the cut, and there's just no reason to, you know. I mean, Amazon, they beat them in price every time, and, you know, guaranteed 2nd-day shipping. I live in Phoenix. We have a warehouse here. I get my shit usually the day of.
Yeah.
You know? And the only reason I wanted to go to Scream Factory was, well, I'm probably going to get slipcovers. Well, now I know. Anyway, that was a side rant. But regardless, yeah. So I'm skeptical about Day of the Dead. But now let's talk about, we're going to talk about the Dead series in full, hopefully a little bit, and then we'll talk about some of his other stuff, because, you know, he had a couple other good films too. But then we had Land of the Dead, which I was talking about this the other day with River, but I always feel like going back and itching to watch it every couple of years, you know, out of morbid curiosity, right? Like, maybe I missed something.
When was the last time you watched it?
It's been a few years. I don't know when. It's probably been a good at least 3 years, right?
That's maybe probably been about 10 years for me.
Yeah, I've pulled it out a couple of times since it came out. I actually saw it twice in theaters.
Oh, you saw it? I just saw it once.
I saw it once with my equivalent to Riverman, where I was living.
Yeah.
And then we actually watched it again. And I wanted to see, you know, hey, did we miss something? I remember we were looking forward to it so much. My buddy back in Missouri, where I was living before, I bonded with him over that stuff. He was obsessed. When I first met him, he was a Romero obsessed junkie. Mm-hmm. And so he kind of became your replacement, your surrogate, you know? And yeah, dude, I remember we were looking forward to that so much. And I don't know, man, like I keep wanting to go back to it and see if there's anything I missed, but it's not it's not without its good things, right? I think it has a cool aesthetic. You know, I think the effects are cool minus Big Daddy. Isn't it a shame that they decided to take a zombie and make him the star? And every time you have zombies in that movie, you got Big Daddy there. He's
no bub, dude. He reminds me of that zombie from Children of the Living Dead with the crappy mask on, dude. They keep showing. Remember that movie, dude?
Oh, that fucking horrible movie.
They have like cutaway scenes with a zombie with like a plastic mask on, dude. Looks awful.
Yeah,
and he's like the main zombie. It's awful, dude.
And fuck that movie. By the way, we've talked about that movie quite a bit on our podcast over the years.
We need to do a commentary on it.
We should do a commentary on it.
Yes.
It was just I remember it's like a lot of people capitalize on that name, The Dead.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying that you thought it was canon, but you know, you were curious, right? It's a movie called Children of the Living Dead, and it's got Tom Savini all over
it. Yeah.
It's like, all right, man, he's got his endorsement, and great. Dude, and like the first 2 minutes was the best part.
Yeah.
Because it's this cheap budget movie on a farm, and Tom Savini's kicking zombie ass. Fuck that guy, by the way.
And then he gets killed.
And then he gets killed, and the movie's just shit. We don't even know what happens. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But, by the way, we're not honoring Tom Savini here. That guy's a dirtbag.
Yeah.
But God bless his effects, you know.
He's great. He's great at what he does. Let's just say
he's great at what he did, man. Dawn of the Dead. I enjoy his shit on that featurette too, man.
Yeah.
So it's a bummer because I'll say, I know this is a bit of a derailing. I want to talk about Land of the Dead some more, but I've met Savini and I've met George Romero. One of the guys was a piece of shit and the other one was not. That's all I'm going to say. No, I'll say it. Tom Savini was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But you know, and I met George Romero finally last year, and I'm glad I did. And I went primarily to get Riverman here an autograph.
Mm-hmm.
And that the USPS Postal Service fucked up.
Yep.
He got it in the mail, and it was like fucking had gotten water damage, and the signature on it is smudged, and
you can barely see it.
The image is probably a little warped from water and drying.
So basically, it's in a frame. But it is water damage, so it's wrinkled as fuck, the photo, and you can barely see the signature. So it's not your fault, Aaron, but it's just, once I got that, I was like heartbroken. I was like, oh. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna go see Romero here in a few months, Indianapolis, or 6 months later. And 2 weeks before, he cancels because of health issues. So then I was like, no, I'm not going to that con or whatever. So then, you know, that was my last chance to see him. But like Aaron said, he wasn't in the greatest shape when he saw him like over a year ago. So I didn't feel as bad when he told me that.
He wasn't. It was kind of sad. I mean, I honestly, when I met him last year, I had that feeling because I was with another buddy, you know, like my Riverman equivalent here in Arizona, who's obsessed with his favorite movie is Dawn of the Dead too. That just tells you right there the cultural impact of that movie, right? I've lived in 3 different states in the last fucking 12 years of my life, 13, 14 years of my life, and instantly bonded with somebody where Dawn of the Dead was their favorite movie.
It's nuts.
It is. So I was here with Dawn of the Dead Arizona fan, my friend here, and we went and, you know, we just knew, man. We saw him like, dude, this guy's going to go. He just didn't look to be in good shape. He was very, very still but shaky at the same time, you know? He couldn't move very much. He was almost, you know, he wasn't talking a lot. And, you know, when you know, I said something nice to him and trying to say, hey, I'm a fan and I appreciate the work and all that stuff, he just sort of, you know, he had a smile on his face, but he didn't say much. He just barely could nod his head. But it is a Sunday and it's not a lot of people, but it's just crazy. But there was nobody there, and I took my picture with him, and I'm sitting there right next to him, shoulder to shoulder, and I put him on the spot like an asshole. I put him on the spot like an asshole, and I said, because my friend was there too, and he didn't buy anything. He had bought George stuff in the past. But you know, I after he took the picture, I'm sitting there shoulder to shoulder with him, and I intentionally put him on the spot and said, hey, do you think my buddy can get a picture? He's a huge fan and whatever. And his look on his face was hilarious. Like do I compromise my fucking my policies here, or do I look like a total asshole to these guys? And but there was nobody in line, so I wouldn't have asked him if there was people in line.
Yeah,
but it was tumbleweeds. We were the only people there.
Yeah,
only people. He was sitting at a table in front of an empty floor.
That's nuts.
Yeah, there was nobody there. We just walked right up to him. Hi, and it was a really small floor, by the way. It was like the size of a really big garage. And nobody there. So if there was people there waiting in line, I would have not asked him that out of respect of waiting fans, and also out of respect of not trying to undercut him in front of people. I wouldn't have did that, but there was nobody there, and I think that's why he decided, okay, why not? He had a look on his face where he kind of looked down in contemplation. He went, all right. And he kind of smiled. He kind of gave a smile, like kind of a fake smile. All right, one.
All right.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, Ed.
But I'm glad I got to do that for my friend, to be honest with you. Because he used to have a picture of George Romero, and he no longer had it.
Oh.
And so it was great. And when George Romero passed away this past week, my buddy uploaded the picture, of course. He had something to upload and sort of pay tribute, right?
Yeah.
And I won't upload my picture because I look like dog shit.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
I see it?
I've never posted it. I don't fucking look. I'm not a very good picture taker, man.
Can you put Photoshop my face on your body, dude?
I'll do it, dude. Sure, I will. But I was happy I could do that for my friend, and it's too bad, you know what? Even I feel bad that your autograph got botched and you weren't able to meet him, but you know what? There's a story behind that autograph still. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah, it's a lot better than just a regular autograph that nobody gives a shit about. Yeah.
Well, still, I mean, you got the story of, I don't know, even the fact that it got it's got some kind of character to it. I don't know.
Well, and the fact that the story about your friend, then I could tell people about you and your friend, and you got a picture out of it, and he wasn't too happy about it.
I wish I could see it in my brain exactly the face he made and what his eyes did when I asked him, and I wish I could describe it. I'd have to see you in person. I'll do an impression of it. I'll tell you I'll show you exactly the face he made and how he did. But he was doing what anybody would do if they were kind of put on the spot, you know?
Yeah.
and when you're put on the spot, you're at a fork in the road and you make either the choice in the left or the right. And he chose the right choice, you know? I would have never, ever in my wildest dreams done it if it wasn't a ghost town.
Yeah.
And I don't recall if I even said anything. I don't think I said that to him because that would have came off bad. Like, oh, sir, I would have never have done this had you had people here. I'm sorry. Do you understand? But it was just, and don't get the wrong idea, folks. It was just a Sunday and it was in the afternoon. And I guess it was just like the dead part, right? You know, of the day. And there just wasn't really anybody there. And there's a lot of people there. It wasn't just Romero. Like, there was, shitty actor Malcolm McDowell. Danny Trejo, fucking Doyle of the Misfits. There's a lot of people, even the fucking gas key guy from fucking the remake.
Oh yeah.
My buddy knew him, and he was in the Friday 13th. I don't remember which part. Can't think of it right now. But he was. But anyway, getting off topic, it had nothing to do with Romero. It was just this particular con on this day. But it was actually great, man. How cool is that to walk into a con that's empty and you can just walk up to all these everybody? Nobody had any business. You can walk up to Danny Trejo, fucking start talking to him.
I would have loved to have been there with you, man. That would be so much fun.
It was no KC Crypticon, which we went to a lot. It wasn't the size of that, man. It's a tiny floor in like a hotel casino resort. Dude, it's tiny little event floor. And just empty. Like nobody. You could walk up to every single buddy and they're all just shooting the fucking breeze with each other, the people at the table. Fucking Doyle from the Misfits, he was in full makeup, fucking jacked as shit. And he was it's awesome. He was at the table right next to Gas Key from fucking 9/11 Dead. And they were just fucking talking, shooting shit. I mean, there's just nothing going on. It's like you could walk up to like Danny Trejo. And I regret not bringing my Desert Heat poster. I'm a fucking idiot.
Oh, God, that would have been awesome.
I was like, dude. I have nothing to get. I don't really want to get anything signed. I don't really like signatures. I'm not a big guy for it.
Oh, dude, it would have been great. You could just be like, can you sign it to Aaron, name your first kid after me? Quote, dude.
Yeah, I could have got you one too. Name your first kid after me.
He just gets hung, dude.
And that would have been so fun just as an inside joke. Yeah, dude. Like that'd be great if me and you both had one, dude. Name your first kid after me. Like,
it's so funny, dude.
I should have got one signed for you. Like,
I wish it had a small dick.
Yeah.
Like,
to Todd. He says he's got a small dick, just like you. But my Desert Heat large movie poster is back home in Missouri, and I think it's like in my mom's garage or something. She's holding on to it, and I remember she moved, and I was trying to make my little brothers that still lived there like, hey, find that damn poster, because it was in a tube, and I really want it, man, because Trejo still does those cons, right?
Yeah.
I would love to. It won't be as cool, man, because this one was empty as shit. If I see him at like a Wizard World or whatever, it's going to be fucking packed. It's less personal. But anyway, I got to see Romero. I got to meet Romero. I got to shake his hand. And you know what? God bless that man. And I give him credit for never changing his wardrobe, man. He had his style.
Yeah.
He did. Well, he had a look, man. It was almost his brand.
Yeah, it's you could spot him out of a fucking lineup, dude.
The vest, the long sleeve button, the shirt underneath the vest, with the sleeves rolled up, and smelling like a pack of Winstons.
Yeah.
Big Coke bottle rim glasses, the ponytail, man. I don't know. It's exactly the way you pictured him.
Yep.
And man, I can't imagine like how crazy that'd be to actually see him on a set, looking like that and just doing his thing. I don't know, but. It's a lot of fun when you watch. We were talking about Land of the Dead, and I know we're kind of bouncing around, but that's what we're going to do for this episode. Land of the Dead, it had things going for it, like we said, but it was missing the mark in a lot of places. I think the biggest thing that hurt Land of the Dead is the fact that it's essentially half of a movie. And I think he wanted to, right? Didn't he want to have a direct follow-up?
Yes, he wanted to do a sequel to Land of the Dead.
Yeah, and you could tell he did.
Yeah.
And that was him counting his eggs before counting his chickens before the eggs hatched. Like, hey, I'm going to make this movie that's essentially half a movie. He should have waited till he had like a contract for both.
He should have released it before Dawn of the Dead remake came out, because that's what fucked him right there.
Why is that? Because
if he would have dropped that before the Dawn of the Dead remake, he would have made a lot more money, and they would have made a sequel to it.
Why do you think that? Because I think some other people could think differently.
His name alone, and the whole zombie craze. I mean, it started with Dawn, the name Dawn, but was that the Zack Snyder film? I don't think he got the funding he could have gotten because of that movie, Dawn, or the Dawn remake. So,
but the Dawn remake came before, right?
Yeah, but I don't know if they were shooting at the same time or they were trying to get funding for.
So you're saying he should have waited fully to make a deal after Dawn of the Dead came out?
Ugh, it's hard because right around that time, it's just. I don't know if he should have dropped it before, because if he could have dropped it before, maybe he could have made more money. But
I would think after. That makes so much sense.
But I think the Dawn name is what got money for Zack Snyder, and they weren't looking at the actual director, which is sad. Sad to say.
But it still says George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead, does it not? And that's what it says. It says even on the remake, George A. Romero's Dawn of the Dead, and then on Land of the Dead, George A. Romero's Land of the Dead. I don't know. I just think the ball got dropped somewhere. But clearly he had interest. I mean, they gave him, I don't know. Maybe they gave him too much money. Maybe that was the big problem, right? Because they didn't get their return. And they scrapped because it's like, how am I going to make a Land of the Dead sequel when I don't have the money? He could have made Land of the Dead too with the shitty budget. He made Diary of the Dead and Survival of the Dead, which by the way, I don't hate Diary of the Dead like some people do.
I don't hate Diary either. I'd probably rather watch that than Land, just because Land pissed me off because I saw it in theaters and I hated it.
Oh, and I haven't watched Diary. I haven't watched Diary of the Dead since it came out. I bought it on DVD when it came because it's straight to video. Whatever. But when I watched it, I enjoyed it a lot more than Land of the Dead.
Yeah, me too.
Now let me see how it stacks up now. I don't know if that's on Blu-ray. Did it ever get a Blu-ray?
Yeah, it did. I still haven't bought it yet because I was jaded by it. I have the DVD release. I never even touched Survival. I watched it, and it was such a piece of shit, I didn't even want to touch it.
Yeah, I never watched it. I honestly, that's a cardinal sin. I didn't watch Survival of the Dead. I heard so much horrible things about it. And I know I shouldn't necessarily let reviews speak for my own opinion, but I think I was at a point where that movie was getting shit on so much that I think I'd rather not see it and not have that feeling, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather have integrity keep a little bit, but all I know is horse riding zombies. That's all I know.
Yeah.
But anyway, with that said, Land of the Dead. Another problem with Land of the Dead was, I don't know, man. I mean, on paper, getting name actors is good, but I think it took me out of it, man, because you go from the first three have no name actors at the time too.
Yeah.
And then this one, all of a sudden you got Dennis Hopper, you got John Leguizamo, and I like John Leguizamo. I have nothing against him. I think he didn't bother me so much because, he played his character like he plays every John Leguizamo character. And the acting was good. But Dennis Hopper, man, you just fucking see Dennis Hopper and you think it's fucking Dennis Hopper. And the George W. Bush type, ruler. But I keep seeing King Koopa. Mm-hmm. Fuck that Super Mario Brothers movie, even coming at me in the Dead series. And it just reminded me of like King Koopa. And, it's not that Dennis Hopper's acting doesn't work in some types of movies, but he's just so over the top, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it took me out of it a little bit, but and then you got Argento's daughter was in it, right? Asia Argento.
Yeah. Well, and the worst scene in the whole film is when that CGI zombie, like flips his head forward.
Oh, it's like CGI.
Yeah, it looks fucking god awful, shitty.
They dropped the ball because, oh man, see, Land of the Dead had some great effects up until that part.
Yeah,
it's like it drives me crazy. It's like, don't use it. Mm-hmm. Just don't. Do something else. There's something else cool you can do. Like, it's not worth it. And I get it. It's one of those things where you probably can't predict how it's going to look because George Romero's not doing the CGI effects, right?
No.
He's probably just told, like, okay, it'll look great. All right, great. But even when you see the damn thing in post, fucking edit it.
Horrible.
Do what you gotta do, man, because I hate it when fucking movies have that one thing that take you out of it, man.
Just cut the whole scene out. Who gives a fuck?
Now, who did that zombie eat, by the way? Who did that zombie bite, you said?
I don't know. He bit somebody, I believe, but...
Because there's that one scene where they're going in like this dark room at night and you see these zombies tearing apart. And it looks really cool, actually. They're eating the gore and stuff and the guts. And there's that one like SWAT looking dude that robs them. Mm-hmm. And he's in Dire of the Dead too. He shows up. And I don't know if he's playing the same character or what. But anyway, I don't know. I still to this day want to watch Land of the Dead every now and again just to give it a chance. And it had Simon Baker in the lead role, and I don't know, man. He was on TV shows a lot at the time, and it just made me feel like I was watching some CBS fucking TV movie with him in it. It kind of
reminds me of like some guy from The Office or something. I don't give a fuck about that. Land of the Dead was made for 15 to 19 million, but the box office was 46.8 million, so it made a shit ton of money. So, but I don't know. They just couldn't put together a sequel for it or what. But
I wonder why. Maybe it was a case of Romero wanting the same amount of money or a little more to do it. I don't know. But if that's the case, because you think they would have in a case like that, if Hollywood's ever told us anything, the trends. So the movie made a little bit more than double its money, right?
Yeah.
Which it made just about their target what they wanted to, just a little bit. Usually Hollywood would say, okay, greenlight a sequel, but we're going to give you a little bit less money this time.
Yeah, and then Dawn of the Dead remake was made for $26 million, and it made $102.4 million.
Oh, so that's probably their expectations were set in a different...
They saw Zack Snyder had the money behind him after that.
Yeah, it's a bummer, man. But... yeah, but Land of the Dead. Then from there, he was direct-to-video Romero, which is kind of sad, man, because Dire of the Dead and Survival of the Dead are canon.
Yeah.
They are canon in the Dead series, but yet they don't feel like it, do they?
Nope.
Don't they feel like fan movies? Mm-hmm. And they don't... And they don't feel like Romero directed them, do they?
No, not at all. Even Land didn't seem like Romero directed that.
Yeah, and I know they have that. What's that fucking Road of the Dead? Road fucking trip. What's that one?
That's what he was coming out with. I think in the next year.
But he gave up the director's chair to somebody else. He wasn't
executive producer. I don't remember.
But that whole thing, that movie, even though Romero was just executive producing it, it to me feels in league with Diary and Survival, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Just bottom line is they seem like parodies. And that's sad to say. And that's also because they just didn't get any attention. They didn't get a box office. They didn't get a theatrical screening. And not to mention Diary of the Dead was capitalizing on the fucking found footage shit at the time, which I don't know. I didn't like. I mean, the movie's actually okay, but I didn't like that, man.
Yeah.
Because it's like, George Romero, you're better than this, you know? Because it's not original. Especially at that time, it wasn't original.
Just seems like you get older and you just, I don't know, you kind of lose it. You know, some people do that. It happens, man.
Yeah. Well, so, but that's not where he ended. The Dead series isn't where it all ended. I mean, his other good movies are fucking Creepshow, right? Creepshow's amazing.
Yeah, I love Creepshow.
You know, Creepshow 2 is just as good, if not even maybe even a little better.
He didn't direct that, but I love Creepshow too.
I know it's not. I know he didn't direct it, but I'm saying like, I want to say he had the superior movie, but even Creepshow 2 might be fucking even a little bit better. But Creepshow's awesome. I love Creepshow.
I love it too.
And I don't know what my favorite story is in the first Creepshow. I can't.
The Tide. The one with Ted Danson was my favorite.
Ted Danson, yeah. Which, you know, and it's funny because I want to watch Dawn of the Dead this weekend, but I want to watch Creepshow 2. I have Creepshow on Blu-ray, so I'll have to.
It actually looks good on Blu-ray, man. I watched it probably a few months ago. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So that's great. So that movie's amazing, and I'm trying to think. Honestly, Romero, that's probably almost where the line's drawn with me with Romero, to be honest with you, because I'm not going to be one of these guys when somebody passes away, as much as I love them. I'm not going to sit there and just candy coat everything.
No, Monkey Shines is shit.
Opinions, Monkey Shines is absolute garbage.
Martin's good. I love Martin.
And you like Martin, I do not.
Yeah, you don't.
Martin.
Zach likes Martin too, I think. I remember him.
Yeah, I think he did. To me, I only watched it the one time, and it put me to sleep, so maybe I just got to watch it again. Monkey Shines is garbage, like I'll keep saying all day long. I've never seen Two Evil Eyes.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that either.
I've never watched it.
I enjoy Bruiser.
I've never watched Bruiser, so I'm missing out there, I guess.
Yeah, it's not great, but I enjoy it. I mean, it's decent, you know.
See, and I remember when Bruiser, when did it come out?
90s, I think 99, I want to say.
So, I remember in like 2001, it was only a couple years old, and you had seen it. Or acquired it, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And I think you had told me you were kind of disappointed with it. It was just kind of or so-so or something. I don't know if you kind of grew a little bit more fonder to it over the years.
I mean, you're looking through zombie eyes, you know, you want something. I don't know. It's just a different story, and I enjoyed it. It's fun. You know, I think I let Pat borrow it, and just because Misfits was in it. I don't remember if he liked it or not, but it was kind of funny.
With the Michael Graves Misfits.
Yeah.
You know, and just because I just want to make sure I don't miss anything, I'm pulling up all of his fucking films, because there's got to be fucking Monkey Shines, man. That movie's. I
listened to an interview with him, and he actually champions that. He actually really liked it.
Man,
I don't know why, but
and you like The Crazies, okay?
I like The Crazies. Yeah, I thought it's a solid movie. I mean, it bore some people, but.
I never watched that movie got remade too.
Yeah, that
didn't have Timothy Olyphant.
Yeah, it's a fucking joke, dude.
The guy you don't want to be in anything.
Timothy Olyphant sucks, dude.
And then Knight Riders.
It was okay. I mean, some people really liked the movie. I wasn't a big fan of it.
He did the Stephen King adaptation, The Dark Half, which I don't like.
No, I wasn't a fan of that either.
It's boring.
Yeah.
it just put me to fucking sleep, man, which is too bad. Why is he credited to Creepshow 2 here?
I think he wrote some. He might have written some of it. He didn't direct it, but what else did he do? Crazy Season of the Witch. There's Always Vanilla, which is just a crappy 70s kind of sex drama. Season of the Witch. I don't think I got through the whole thing. I think I kept falling asleep. So I was bored with it.
So going through it, he had a pretty big gap. Like, he obviously directed less and less. The last thing he directed was Survival of the Dead. That was in 2009, so it's been a while. And it's funny because, his health had deteriorated, and I couldn't tell you the last time I saw... It had been a few years since you've seen him on a video interview, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of came as a shock when I saw him. Because the last time I'd seen him was like, hey, I'm talking normally. And he did Diary of the Dead in 2007. He did Land of the Dead in 2005. So he was pretty active, right? 05, 07, 09.
Yeah.
And he didn't slow down. He didn't get his Land of the Dead money, and he said, fuck it, we're going to do Diary. He did Bruiser in 2000. But from Bruiser in 2000, the movie he did prior to that was The Dark Half, 7 years before in 93. Mm-hmm. So he had a pretty big gap there. And Bruiser, that had to have been a direct-to-DVD, direct-to-video.
Yeah,
right?
that was, yeah. I didn't know they were coming out with a Day of the Dead, another Day of the Dead movie.
Oh, God, after Condangium?
Yeah, it's just called Day of the Dead 2017.
Another remake?
I'm guessing.
God, then, is he going to have Ving Rhames too?
No, I don't even know these just characters.
Like, did you ever see the Day of the Dead remake?
No, Nick Cannon was in that, wasn't he?
Mina Savari, Nick Cannon, and Ving Rhames again.
That's the worst cast ever.
Ving Rhames was in that one too, playing a different character.
I hate Ving Rhames other than Pulp Fiction. I do like him in that, but...
Dude, I've never watched the Dawn of the Dead remake. I know a lot of people fucking love it.
What?
I've tried to watch...
People like that?
Dude, people fucking love that movie.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Did you see Scream Factory announced it? They're releasing the remake.
A new one?
That was their surprise announcement movie this month, is they're doing a re-release of the remake.
People like that shit?
Dude, people fucking love that movie, dude. Clearly, it made a lot of money. The thing is you gotta look at the demo, too. Younger people, when that came out, that's the be-all, end-all. They don't give a fuck about the original. And it's not even just like the young demo. Like, there's just some people that love it. Speaking of which, I was listening to Chris Jericho's podcast, because I listen to him every week. Yeah. I like his podcast. And he was talking about his favorite the Zack Snyder. That's his fucking favorite zombie movie. He's like, it's just amazing. It's the best zombie movie. Some people love it. I have tried watching it twice, and I just kind of fell asleep both times. So I don't know. But I did watch the Day of the Dead remake in full, and that movie is shitty. And man, does that have the shittiest box art I've ever seen.
Awful.
You ever seen that box art?
I'm looking at it right now, man. It's garbage.
It's like shitty Photoshop, dude. It's horrible.
That's a 2000s for you for horror films.
And you'd think that movie would have got more of a budget and a legit director, but how come it didn't? I think it was straight to DVD too. It's like, why? It's like Dawn of the Dead remake was such a big hit. God. Why didn't that get any money behind it?
Well, I think they got a decent director. Let me look. They got the director Friday 13th, I think.
Oh, Steve Miner?
Yeah. Part 2 and 3, and he directed House.
Yeah, Steve Miner. Yeah. And he directed H2O, right? Did he direct H2O? Maybe not.
H2O, yeah.
Yeah. So he jumped franchises there.
Yeah, and Blake Placid and all those, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just a shitty movie, man. And it's, by the way, it's not even the fucking same story.
Oh.
It's totally fucking different. It's literally like they took the fucking name and that's it, right?
God. I didn't even know people liked that fucking movie.
Day of the Dead? I'm not Day of the Dead. I'm talking about Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Day of the Dead, the remake of Day of the Dead.
No, I kept saying Dawn of the Dead.
Oh.
No. Day of the Dead was an abortion, dude. That movie's forgot.
I thought you were talking. You must have mentioned Day, or I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mentioned both of them, and then I went back to Dawn, saying people.
Yeah, people love Dawn. People love Dawn. Yeah, I don't understand it, but
people love that Dawn remake.
I think it's shit.
It's the reason why Zack Snyder has a career.
Yeah.
And but no, the Day of the Dead remake. God no, man. That I've never heard anybody even talk about it.
Oh, okay.
It's just like forgotten. It's just like horrible. I forgot about it till we brought it up.
Okay.
But I actually watched that one all the way through, and it's fucking just garbage. And I'm looking at George Romero's filmography, and he was featured in a TV movie documentary called O.J. Simpson: Juice on the Loose.
Oh God, nice.
I don't know why they're interviewing him. Have you ever seen There's Always Vanilla?
I've seen parts of it. Like I was saying, it was the sex drama type of thing. Yeah,
follow up to Night of the Living Dead. Yeah. Looking at the trivia, this is George A. Romero's second film, and according to him, his worst.
Yeah.
He stated that the writer was very lazy and showed little interest in the production, leaving halfway through the shooting. Yeah. So anyway, obviously his bread and butter and his signature was the Dead franchise. And like I said, he didn't have a perfect filmography, but nobody really does. He wasn't the most, but he really wasn't a very consistent filmmaker.
No.
To be honest, but it doesn't matter because, like I said, you can take, a Tarantino or whatever, a Scorsese. At least he has his fucking Taxi Driver, right?
Yeah, he has 3 films that I love, and I don't care. That's all I need. He's still one of my favorite directors, just because of those 3 films.
He's got a perfect movie under his belt.
Yeah,
and man, he's in good company, right? I mean, you think of people like Ridley Scott. Alien's a perfect movie. Yeah. Dude, the guy, he never made another perfect movie again.
Yeah.
He's made good movies. He's made shit movies. Maybe he's got more good movies than Romero does, but man, Romero's got that perfect movie too.
Just look at Cronenberg. I mean, all the greats, man. I mean,
you think, look at Scorsese, right? Scorsese's a little bit of an exception. He's got a couple of great fucking movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, he's up there. His movie is up there to me with your fucking Taxi Drivers, right? Mm-hmm. It's just a piece of pop culture. I mean, Tarantino's got his Pulp Fiction. Dawn of the Dead's up there.
Yeah.
So that's all that fucking matters. And let's just say I still regret not getting a signed script when I was there. Fuck. I want to get him to autograph me a script for Dawn of the Dead because it's about as perfect as a movie gets, to be honest with you. And it's just a lot of fun. And it oozes charm, and it always takes you back when you watch it, and it takes me back to being a young teen, being like 14 years old and hanging out with you. And,
I was actually going to watch it the other night, but we were talking about doing a commentary on it, so I was like, "I'll hold on."
Yeah, so we're going to try and keep this going. We're going to wrap it up here, but we want to try in the next couple of days to actually do a commentary, and we'll do Dawn of the Dead, and it's long overdue, because I think a lot of times we want to shy away from the super, super obvious movies, right? And Dawn of the Dead is such a cultural, iconic movie. It might be obvious for us, but it doesn't matter. It's a kick-ass movie. Yeah. It's a kick-ass movie, and we got to do it in honor of the late George A. Romero. And that's for all we're going to say. He's obviously big enough in our eyes to where he deserves a podcast all about him. And yeah, so everybody kick back, pop in your favorite Romero movie this week, and if it's Monkey Shines, that's your business. But we know it's not gonna be, right? Yeah. Pop in your favorite Romero film, whatever that is. Don't even stop there. Pop in movies that he influenced, like Shaun of the Dead, right? Yeah. Like I said, that's how big he was. Dawn of the Dead influenced Shaun of the Dead, which is fucking huge.
Any zombie movie can pop in.
Anything. It all kind of goes back to him. He didn't create the term zombie, but he created what the term zombie means today.
Yeah.
Right. And so Walking Dead, if you guys like The Walking Dead, if you guys are young, you owe that to Romero, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, they wanted Romero to direct and do The Walking Dead, right?
Yeah, he hated The Walking Dead.
I don't remember what happened, though. What happened with that whole thing?
Shit. I don't remember.
Did he think it was shit, or did the deal fall through?
I don't know. He said it's too much of a soap opera for him. So,
and he passed on it. You know, kind of like how he was going to do the Resident Evil movie. Remember that?
Yeah. Well, I don't think that was on the same terms. I think that got swept out from under him or something. I don't remember.
But clearly, he was the guy that people thought of.
Yeah.
At least at the beginning, it's like when you think zombies, zombie property, you think Romero. You know, Resident Evil, it's a game about zombies. Obviously, they did their own story with it, but it's still got the Romero zombies in it.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you call the Romero zombies, right? The slow walking, flesh eating, that's Romero zombies.
Yeah.
And Resident Evil, so whoever created Resident Evil, clearly they were influenced by him. And fucking Walking Dead, Romero. And, you know, it's kind of a shame. I'll end on this, but do you remember last year they announced that George A. Romero was getting an AMC series, Empire of the Dead?
Yeah, I thought I heard that.
Yeah, and I don't know whatever happened to it. I guess we never will now. Yeah. But when that came out, though, oh my God, zombie fatigue, you know?
Yeah. Once he started hitting the direct-to-DVD, I was like, nah, he's done now, but whatever.
Yeah, it's really too bad, man. He couldn't have somehow trademarked the Romero zombie somehow. Mm-hmm. You know, it's too bad he couldn't have got a little piece of all this action because it's so popular now.
Oh yeah,
it's just you kind of wish that he could have got a piece of that pie, what he created, right? But regardless, rest in peace, George A. Romero. That's all I got. Make sure to, like I said, watch your flicks, watch your George Romero flicks, inspired flicks. Let us know what you think of this podcast. I know it was a little bit rambly, but, you know, we just wanted to talk. We just wanted to talk about fucking George Romero and talk about Dawn of the Dead and all these other movies. The good and the bad and the ugly, it doesn't matter. I hope somebody talks about me when I die, you know? So it's like, whatever. It's all good. And let us know what you think of the podcast. Give us recommendations for commentaries as well. We always slowly but surely at least get to those. And give us ideas for topics. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube and iTunes. iTunes, you're going to have the non-neutered versions of these podcasts. Obviously, YouTube, they got the strong arm. We can't put copyrighted shit. We can't make a lot of fun stuff with music and sound bites and things like that. And of course, with this podcast, we're going to want to put nice little homages to Romero, right? So definitely go to iTunes and subscribe to us. And really soon, we're going to hope to be on the Android market as well for Google Play. And revivalhouse.net, the all-new website, formerly btmreview.com, is coming very soon. So all that stuff, share, subscribe, leave us 5-star ratings on iTunes, and share us with your friends. Don't be stingy. Don't be like that. Try and get us out there even more. And that's all I got, Riverman. I don't know when we're going to see you next. Hopefully in the commentary. But do you have any last words for the viewership, listenership?
Doesn't Romero always say it? Stay scared.
That's how he always signs autographs. Stay scared. Adios.